Yeah, arrogance is not a good thing. And I don't like how I sound. I don't like the way that I talk about certain things. Like if I'm like coming from a place of judgment, like that's not righteous, just haughty. Like I'm turning my nose up at people and acting like I'm superior to them because of this or that. Like, I don't care what it is that you find problematic about the way that somebody behaves. If you come from a place of ego, it doesn't matter how right you are. Because that's all that person's gonna hear is like your haughtiness, your judgment. Now, granted, there are definitely people that can't take criticism, and we know who they are because they won't shut up about themselves. So, you see this in like the LGBT community a lot. Like people that, they're so convinced of their particular identity that it's everybody else's personal responsibility to affirm their supposed identity. First of all, like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You're so full of shit. It's coming out of every orifice, sweetheart. It's like you invent orifices for shit to come out of. Okay? I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because that's like the nicest thing that I could say to you, actually. Because it would be better if these people shut up. It would be better if these people just like, they were quiet for a little while and they actually like pondered their experience. And you see this a lot with people that have decided to like detransition. They're just like, oh wow, like I was going through a phase and I was dumb enough to think that cutting my genitals off was the right decision. I mean, I think that a lot of these people, like, and this is the problem with a lot of conservatives on the right, is that they don't ever want to account for, like, actual science. Like, science proves that gay people actually exist. Science proves that trans people actually exist. MRIs prove that men that think they're women or women that think they're men have the brain structure of the gender that they see themselves as, okay? Now, I'm not going to get an MRI, but I'm pretty sure that an MRI would indicate that I do have a man brain. Just because of the way that, like, I process information and, I'm just not erratic. When I was younger and I was more of a borderline personality because I was in the victim mentality, I definitely would take a lot of stuff personally. And, if you criticize me, like, I would tear up. But I wouldn't, like, react, I wouldn't, like, start yelling at you or something like that, But narcissists definitely bring that out in me. I can tell you that for a fact. And, like, that's my personal problem, though. I'm not going to blame the narcissist, as easy as it is to do. But I will say that, like, every single time that anyone has gotten a reaction out of me, that person's, like, 9 times out of 10 a narcissist. Because they're really the only ones that can push my buttons that way. Because I typically have all of my buttons, like, protected, I have a glass. I have a protective glass over every one of my buttons. Because I don't want to react. And I hate that about America. I hate that about our society. The fact that people have no self-control and they want to act like you're the problem because you can actually regulate your impulses and not, like, react violently to somebody saying something that you don't understand. You know, I mean, that's just happened so many times where like I'll say something and I'll totally take responsibility for this. You know, I've said a lot of stuff that is kind of like, what the fuck, Amy? Why did you say that? But like, if I take ownership for that and I apologize and I say I was wrong to say that, and you still want to be a bitch about it, you still want to whine up a storm and keep bringing it up and passive aggressively, you know, talk at me or, you know, like, fuck you, you know? Like, I don't think I'm wrong to say that, like, narcissists are horrible people that should kill themselves. Like, but at the same time, like, I do empathize with them somewhat because I know that the reason why they're that way is typically because of something that they had no control over. And so I try to have that empathy, but at the same time, it's like, you can't be too compassionate because then people will walk all over you. Whenever they realize that it's easy for them to do that, you know they gonna do that. So it's happened so many times though where like I've said something to the wrong person at the wrong time and they overreact and just like blow up on me. It's happened at places I've worked at. It's happened in my family. It's happened with like dudes I've dated, with fucking comedy. It's crazy. I thought that if I became a comedian, I thought that if I did stand-up, like I wouldn't have that problem. But I've actually had that problem even more. And it's so crazy, like, how many people have called me racist. I just find it funny. Well, so these people over here, these leftist lunatics, will call me a racist. And then these people over here, these rightee tightees, will call me a fucking coal burner. But it was just that one time, damn it, and I was drunk. Okay? I didn't know what I was doing. I actually did know what I was doing. I totally knew what I was doing. Because I was really self-destructive at the time, so it was like, I remember like that year, it was 2010, it was like the year that I relapsed. Same year that gay marriage got legalized, and that's really like when everything took a nosedive in our society. But yeah, I relapsed that year, and so I was drunk like pretty much all year, in and out of a blackout. And yeah, I had sex with a lot of people because when I drink, like, I open the door to a lot of illicit behavior. And, you know, having a vagina, it really is a weapon. Like, I mean, women, like, weaponize their vagina against men. But, you know, I was just a self-destructive person, so I weaponized it against myself. But yeah, man. There was this really hot black dude that my friend was working with at Cracker Barrel, which is kind of funny. And he ended up at our apartment, and I ended up fucking him. Now, he wore a condom, though, so he was very responsible. But, you know, a lot of people, it's like they think less of you if you've, like, race mixed. And, like, I kind of understand, like, I can see it from all angles, like, why people are against that, why people are for it, why people think it's degenerate, why people think that you're trashy if you do that. But, you know, I have a bunch of friends that are technically coal burners. You know, I have a bunch of friends that have mixed kids. And what are you suggesting that those children don't belong to God all because their parents are from different races? Because that's kind of fucked up. I mean, I can understand like why people think that it's counterintuitive to do that. But another thing about it, I just think is really weird that you're like trying to like police another person's love life, another person's sex life, and like tell them like who they're allowed to bang and who they're allowed to marry and who they're allowed to have children with. Like that's really fucked up. I mean, how is that any of your fucking business? You know? Like this is the problem with social media. And I mean, this is the problem with people in general. Social media has just exacerbated it, where like people think that everybody else's business is their business. Now, a huge part of that is like the fact that everybody's making their business everybody else's business, you know? And so it's like if you put out the information, of course people are gonna say something about it. But the fact that like people would just like write me off because of that, just like this leftist that I do stand up with, who's really funny and talented, but he's totally narcissistic, you know? And he refuses to talk to me because I use the N-word in a comedy bit, and, you know, he's being a whiny little bitch about it. He didn't hear me say it. I didn't call him that word, but he acts like I did. And because I'm a woman, and he can't react the way that he would react if a man told him that information, he's very passive aggressive with me, but he wants me to know how he feels about me every single time he sees me. He'll like talk at me on stage, or he'll talk at me like in passing. Because, you know, we have mutual friends, we have mutual colleagues or whatever. So it's like he wants me to know that he's still mad about it. I literally told him this back in like 2021 because he asked me if I said anything racist, and I told him. I was very, very straightforward. I was honest with him. That's why I think he's a narcissist, because like narcissists can't handle honesty. They fucking hate it. Because they're liars. They can't handle somebody being totally real with them. Because they don't know how to be real with themselves, so how could they possibly be real with anybody else? Now, once again, I feel sorry for him, because at some point during his development, he experienced something that turned him into that fucking piece of shit that he is now. And it's crazy, because he's one of the most talented people I've met in the comedy scene. And the reason why he's not any further in his comedy career is because of the fact that he thinks that people are out to get him, you know? And he could just use his race to keep this delusion going. But it's crazy, because like he'd probably be famous right now. He'd be famous if he wasn't such a narcissist. But, you know, I think a lot of people would be way further along than they are if they didn't have these like psychological maladies holding them back. And so like people like me that try to understand our psychological maladies, and, you know, we're able to do something with them. It's like, of course we're a threat. Of course we're a threat to the people that want to control us and insist that we're just crazy and we don't know what we're talking about. You know, I actually read something recently that said that if these clinicians have stated in multiple psychological articles that I've read about how if they really wanted to study schizophrenia, they would study schizotypal personality disorder. Because schizotypal personalities are like schizophrenic without the psychosis part. Now, one article I read was from like 2002, I think. So it's like, they've had information for a long time. They choose not to utilize it. There ain't no funding that's gonna go towards studying the human brain, because they don't want to study the human brain. They don't want to understand why people behave the way that they do. They want to keep controlling people. And unfortunately, you have a society that's totally complicit with that. If you look at the massive number of people that are on psychiatric medication by choice, they're not forced to take it, they choose to take it. So, you know, I choose to take it for a little while, but that's why I made this poster, right? We all make mistakes. I think I'm going to leave that white because that's a message from God. Because the only person, the only human being that never made a mistake was Jesus Christ, and that's because he was truly of God. Okay? And look what they did to his ass. You know? So if they're going to do that to the Son of God, if they're going to do that to the one motherfucker that was actually perfect, and now I'm using the term motherfucker as a positive, it's a term of endearment, okay? I use it interchangeably. But I live to piss off uptight people. I live to piss off people that are fucking silly. They're silly in their uptightedness because that does not lure people in, that casts people out. Okay? Okay, it's 2:57. We gotta go. We got to go. But yeah, it's like it doesn't serve anybody to be like all uppity about certain things, you know, like language. And I don't just say this because I'm a comedian, but like language is not the one to be uppity about, because language changes all the time. And Jesus wouldn't be uppity about it. If Jesus ain't uppity about it, if Jesus ain't going to get on to me because I called him motherfucker, but I use it as a term of endearment instead of a pejorative, I don't think that his people should be getting on to me about it either. But they will, because that's what they do. It's like a lot of these Christians, they think they're like a better Christian if they're intolerant towards things that aren't really that big of a deal. Like, I can understand you like being a little bit uppity about, you know, like say like a gay couple came to your church and they were like holding hands. That would be bad, you know? But if you have like a gay person at your church that like legitimately is like, I'm trying to stop engaging in homosexual behavior, like you should welcome that person. You know? You shouldn't cast that person out because of something that you don't understand. And if you don't understand them, direct them to somebody that does. It's not hard. Just admit that you don't understand. Just admit that you can't relate to their experience. So, you know, if people ask me questions and I don't know the answer, I will straight up tell them I don't know. And I think that there is nothing that is harder for so many people in our society than to just admit that they don't know the answer to something. Like, what makes you think that you're supposed to, you know? Hello. I want to pet you, but I don't think you'd like it. Would you like to be pet? I said, no, I want fucking bread, bitch. I want bread. Oh, their feathers are so pretty. I love the way they walk. I love their webbed feet. Webbed feet are so cool. Unless you're human, then they're kind of weird. Okay, I need to go to work.